Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. I want to welcome everybody who's going to be joining us here on the program this evening. I'm going to wait just a couple minutes here to get some people here in the chat and also to get some people here on our program tonight. I don't want to repeat myself and keep going on about things that are happening, but we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. I want to make sure everybody's here with that. Okay? We have Sergeant Johnson here. Thank you for being here, Sarge. Appreciate it. Nova Scotia Rich. Rich, thank you for being here as well. We appreciate all of you guys being here. Okay? Thank you much, guys. God bless you both. God bless all of us here. Okay? There's a lot of things going on in our world, and I want to make sure everybody knows about it. That's why I'm going to an extent here to make sure we're here. S. Nord is here. Welcome very much, Sue. We appreciate you being here. Hurricane Heather's here. Arnold Schmidt is here. God bless you guys. We love each and every one of you. We really do. I'm waiting for a couple others to get in here at least, and then we'll start this program off. Okay? We appreciate all of our family being here with us. Okay? We love each and every one of you. And I know I said that many times, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Okay? That's important. That's important. Okay? Wherever we are, we want to make sure people recognize, number one, and number two, they understand their importance in our lives more than anything. We want to make sure people understand their importance in our lives. I don't want anybody to think they're not important in our lives at all. All of you are important in my life. The golden age of love, and Christine is here. Thank you for being here, Chris. God bless you. God bless you all. Now, I want to talk about some crazy things happening in our world. Okay? Now, up in Canada, all kinds of fire in southwestern Canada. Okay? All over southwestern Canada, there's fire, literally. Okay? From British Columbia, Canada, and Alberta, going over into Saskatchewan as well. There is wildfire going. All that smoke is moving eastbound. Also, we have fires over in and around Nova Scotia area as well. Rich here, Nova Scotia Rich, reports on this on his own channel. By the way, if you haven't already been to Rich's channel, please go there, show his channel some love, and subscribe to his channel as well. I know he'd appreciate that. Demon Catman from the east of England's here. Now, if you guys already don't know Demon Catman, understand, he is here on his own. He volunteered here to be a moderator on our channel. Guess what? It's the middle of night in England, yet he's here almost every night. God bless you, Dean. I appreciate you all very much, each and every one of you. Now, Seattle's also getting smoke from Canada as well. There's wildfires in Washington and wildfires also in Oregon. They're going. They're going all over the place. Now, I want to go over to Washington State now. Okay? In Washington State. Sorry, I thought I turned. Okay, now I've got Do Not Disturb on. I thought I had it on here. Just 2 days ago, outside Antioch, Washington, level 3 evacuations, and shelters were open. The evacuation notices were given, leave now. Sunday evening, Antioch River Valley. Okay, the growth of the lower Sugarloaf fire. Okay, Chelan County Emergency Management issued a level 3 evacuation about 5:30 p.m. Sunday evening. Incredible. That evacuation involved many thousands of people. Okay. When it became a level 2 evacuation before that, who knows what a level 2 evacuation is? That means get ready. A level 2 evacuation notice means get ready. Okay? Get ready. Why? Because you may be evacuated. You need to be getting all your things ready to put in your car or already put in your car, and then just wait to see what happens. Put everything in your car that you want to take, your emergency preparedness kit, your food, your water, your pets, your children, and everything they have, everything you want to take with them, including the pet beds, the pet food, pet treats, their favorite toy, their favorite blanket, including your children. Don't forget books and games. The last thing you want to have is a mad pet or a pet or child that doesn't understand what's going on. You want to make sure they are occupied. These fires are ongoing, guys. These fires are ongoing. Sunday night, the American Red Cross set up an evacuation shelter at Antioch Warehouse Community Church. The fire near Antioch, Washington has been burning for over 3 weeks. It's now burned over 30,000 acres. It's only about 30% contained. It's not the only one burning. There are many other fires there as well. All over Washington, and like I said, Oregon, and even Northern California. I'm not going to cover all of them, but what I am going to do is ask you to be aware of them. If you live anywhere near fire areas, be prepared to evacuate. Don't wait for a notice of evacuation to be issued, or even a level 2 evacuation notice to be entered, meaning you need to pack up your cars and be ready. Pack up your cars and be ready anyway, because you may not have much notice from a level 2 to level 3 get out. Make sure you're getting out now. Okay? In the past, we've had evacuation notices issued, and the evacuees had to drive through streets and roads, highways surrounded by fire. Some of those people didn't make it. That's why it's so very important to make sure you are honoring evacuation notices. And before you even think of not doing it, you need to think of you and your family. I know I've told this story many times, at least several times before, but I'm going to tell it again. Back about 2014, 2015, I had a family member near American Fork, Utah. He lived at the mouth of a canyon. In that canyon was a fire burning rapidly. That fire was descending out of the hills and was headed right for a huge estate development built there. My son-in-law at the time lived there, and he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave. We went up to his house, expecting to help them move things out of their house into their car to get out. He didn't want to leave. As an emergency manager, I begged him to get ready. We actually pulled things out of his house that we knew they would need. He had 2 small children. We started loading their car with food, with pet food, pet beds, things that their children would need, and water. My son-in-law still didn't want to do anything about it. Then a sheriff's deputy knocked at their door. I answered the door. The sheriff's deputy was there telling us to leave, and leave now. I told the sheriff that there was one member of our family did not want to leave, and he looked right at my son-in-law and said, guess what? You're either going to leave on your own or you're going to go to jail. That sheriff's deputy meant business. Fortunately, my son-in-law got a mind on his own and finished packing up their car and left. Fortunately, we had already packed most of it. As you can understand, I was deeply hurt because my son-in-law wouldn't listen to me. Sad, very sad. I want to make sure you understand what we're talking about. That's why we talk about fires. That's why we talk about hurricanes. That's why we talk about tornadoes and thunderstorms on this program. We put the information right in front of you so you will be ready for whatever happens. Okay? So please do that. Please do that. My dear friend Heidi Petrick is also here. Judy Olson is here. We have a good number of our family here, so I'm going to continue this program. All kinds of things are still going on. Fires everywhere. I don't expect them to not continue, but they are going to continue. These fires are probably going to continue through at least the middle of November, maybe longer. All I am wanting all of us to do is pay attention. Watch yourselves. Watch your communities. Your community might be in danger and you might be the only one knowing it. You might also be able to sound the disaster horn, meaning you going door to door in your neighborhood, advising your neighbors what's going on. But don't forget your own family, your own home. We've talked about preparing for wildfires. We've talked about preparing for other storms and things that are going on. That's because we want you to be safe. We want you to have the information you need in order to process a disaster that's going to happen in front of you. Now, if you are in an area where there may be fires, if you have internet still capability either on your phone or on your home computer, go to the National Fire News National Interagency Fire Center, the National Interagency Fire Center.gov, www.NIFC.gov/fire information. You'll get all kinds of information about fires that are burning. You can scope out that website and find fires in your area. Okay? All over the internet, they're talking about fires. I want you to be sure of what's going on around you. That's why we're talking about it. I think this is very important, or I would not even be addressing this. Okay? I want you to understand where we're coming from. I can't do it by myself. I need all of you to help me put out the word. I want you to help me put out the word. That's why all of you are here. Help spread the information with your family. Help spread the information with your family. Now, there are some people that say, Ron, you say too much. You say it twice or three times. Why do I do that? The simple reason is this. I want the information to get out Some people don't listen to the first time when I say it. So sometimes I will say things 3 times. That way you get the importance of what I'm talking about. So prepare for wildfires. They started earlier in the summer, actually late spring, and they're continuing. Heidi Petrick, God bless you, dear. Heidi Petrick just gave out 5 Emergency Management Associates gift memberships here. Eugenia Lynn, Vicki Vandenberg, Love Pugs 05, and Broke You, Starbright. If you received a gift membership to our program, please thank Heidi Petrick. On Thursday morning, we will be holding a members only meeting here on this channel. We hope you're here Thursday morning. We'd appreciate you being here. Okay? But again, thank Heidi Petrick for giving you a membership to this program. The more members we have, the greater idea of what's going to happen, that we're going to get out information. The greater chance we have to get out information. So Thursday morning, we will be here to have a members only meeting. Okay? Now, there are other things besides wildfires I want to talk about. Okay? There's a hurricane in the Atlantic. Let's go to Fox News right now, Fox Weather. Okay? Hurricane Gabrielle.
Clock is here, and we've officially have Hurricane Gabrielle. 75-mile-an-hour winds. The headline is that Gabrielle not only strengthening into a hurricane, but also set to rapidly intensify in the next 24 hours and could very well become a major hurricane by tomorrow night. So we're going to dive into Gabrielle in just a moment, just giving you the latest up to date, but also too brand new at the top of the hour. We check off a name in the Eastern Pacific. NARDA officially joining the party. Tropical storm, 40-mile-an-hour winds. It sits off the coast of Mexico, just south of Acapulco, pushing up to the northwest around 10 miles an hour. NARDA is going to continue to intensify, but move away from the coast of Mexico out into those open waters, continuing to strengthen as we go throughout the week. So we'll continue to keep our eyes on this storm. If any of that tropical moisture could get lifted up into our weather pattern, but for now, this thing moving due west shouldn't be a concern in the near term. So NARDA checking off a name yet again in the Eastern Pacific as we continue to stay active. Let's get back to Gabrielle. So here we are, Hurricane Gabrielle. It's been on this northwesterly trajectory over the last couple of days. It is eventually forecast to turn north and then northeast, but we're probably not going to see that happen until late tomorrow into Tuesday. But on satellite, you know, we're kind of getting into the time of the day where we're going to lose the sun, so we're going to lose this picture, but still fending off some dry air. You take a look at our mid-level atmospheric moisture, and you can see some of the dry air entrainment just off to the west and the south of that circulation, still fending it off with
Okay, she's talking about dry air. Earlier this spring, there was a huge dry air mass coming off the Sahara Desert in Africa. That's normal. Every year we have that. That dry air mass comes across this country, comes across the Atlantic into this country, across Florida, across the Gulf of America, even into Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, over into Texas. Okay, every year. This dry air laden with dirt. What happens? This layer of dirt and dry air has dried out the Atlantic Ocean. That has prevented hurricanes from developing before June or July, even August. That's why we've only had maybe 2 hurricanes down here and 1 fizzled out. The other hurricane came up the Atlantic Ocean, and the outer bands of it hit South and North Carolina and Virginia. Then it was a dead issue after that because it went into the northeast and dissipated. This one's still churning. It's now a Category 4 storm. They expect it to dissipate some by tomorrow, maybe becoming a Category 2 or a Category 3 storm by tomorrow.
Thunderstorm development. There's still a good amount of moisture out here, so healthy. Absolutely. We have this upper level low parked off to the southwest, and the suspicion is you can see this dry air, right? And I think some of this is getting worked up into that circulation, and then that's probably going to keep things a little less conducive on the west side. Big picture, tracking our hostile winds. So you look at this and you see all those bright colors. Initially, it's like, oh, we have hostile winds. It's a touch misleading. What we actually are looking at here is the outflow from Hurricane Gabrielle. And so you can see these stronger winds indicative of the outflow of those winds, not only from the storm, but around the subtropical high. And
okay. Those outflow winds are called the outer bands of the hurricane. Those outer bands of the hurricane can spot off or drop off thunderstorms and tornadoes.
So Gabrielle is actually sitting in an environment that is very conducive for strengthening. Lower wind shear, very warm waters. Look at these water temperatures, mid-80s, and that's going to continue to warm over the next 24 hours as we go through tonight and into the day on Monday, which is why the National Hurricane Center, point blank in their discussion, say they have no reason not to forecast rapid intensification. So look at this. As we go through tonight into tomorrow over the next 24 hours, sitting in a low shear, warm water temperature environment, we're expecting to go from right now 75-mile-an-hour hurricane to potentially a major by Monday night. Look at this. Tuesday morning, 115-mile-per-hour winds. We're talking a Cat 3 hurricane as it moves east of Bermuda. Now, Bermuda's been staring down this forecast closely, and because there was some question on the intensity, obviously a more intense storm is going to put more energy out into the ocean. So I think for Bermuda, still not expecting any direct impact from Gabrielle, but we can certainly expect larger swells, that dangerous surf and rip current risk to continue into the start of the week. Now, after Tuesday, this conducive environment that Gabrielle is strengthening in isn't going to last. You can see here by Tuesday afternoon, and then certainly by Wednesday through the rest of this week, it's just steady weakening. And that's because Gabrielle does move into an environment that is highly sheared, and dry air certainly starts to win out and take over. And so the structure...
Drier air and colder water. As Gabrielle moves north and then northeast towards the Azores, it's going into colder water, which is going to decrease the strength of the storm.
Gabrielle, the intensity of Gabrielle is not going to look anything like it will in the next 24 hours by the time we make it towards the middle and later half of this week. But Gabrielle is going to be moving pretty quickly across the North Atlantic at some point and is still forecast to head up towards the Azores by about Friday.
Okay, that's what's going on with Gabrielle. Now there's another storms that I want to talk about. Okay, first I want to talk about Typhoon Raisis. It hit the Philippines yesterday. Let me show you that. Those palm trees are 85-foot palm trees. Look how they're bent with the wind. 185 is 220 kilometers per hour wind. That's what happens.
If you're over 50 and still haven't signed...
Okay, that's exactly what happens. This is an ongoing storm. Now, it's moved into a different place. Now it's hitting Taiwan, it's hitting southern China, and going also, the outer bands are going also into South Korea. Watch this.
Strong winds and rain are lashing the northern Philippines and Taiwan as Super Typhoon Ragasa moves towards southeast China. The system, which has been rated as the most powerful typhoon this year, has made landfall in the northern Philippines with sustained winds of 215 kilometres an hour, gusting of up to 285 kilometres an hour.
Who's on Philippines?
Work and school classes have been suspended in the capital, Manila, while thousands of residents in low-lying and coastal communities have been evacuated due to the threat of flooding and landslides. Rescue operations are already underway in the country's north after a highway was blocked. Typhoon Ragasa is also whipping up dangerous seas north of Taiwan. In Hong Kong, the major international airport has shut down, announcing it has suspended all passenger flights for 36 hours. And wild weather has triggered panic buying across Hong Kong, with residents scrambling to stock up on essential supplies.
Unreal, guys. This is unreal. Does anybody have any questions about anything we're talking about? Yes, that's a super typhoon. Anywhere from 180 kilometers per hour to 220 kilometers per hour winds. Huge, huge heavy duty winds. That is a very strong hurricane, basically. Down over in the southeastern or southwestern Pacific, they call it typhoons. Over in the Atlantic, over in the Gulf of America, we call it hurricanes. That's a very strong hurricane. Really bad. One voter says he was on One's West animation loop. That's cool. That's cool. Does anybody have any questions about what we talked about? Now, if you don't, we're going to go over the USGS map now. I want to talk about the earthquakes that have been hitting. Okay. Again, over here in southeastern Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia, we are still seeing earthquakes here. These earthquakes are aftershocks. These earthquakes are aftershocks, everybody. They're ongoing. They're going to go for a very long time. We could see aftershocks here for years. Years. We had an 8.0 and 8.4 earthquake that hit earthquakes. One hit on December 26, 2019, and the other hit 2 days later on December 28th. We're still seeing aftershocks in Puerto Rico because of that. Okay? Some 6 years later. This is also going to happen here. Now, I've explained why. About a month ago, the USGS said we had an 8.8 earthquake. I show you evidence that it was probably closer to a 9.4 major quake. 8.8 is a major quake, don't get me wrong. But that earthquake was a lot stronger than they said it was. At the time, I told you all that that earthquake actually ruptured the plates. Complete plate separation. Plate rupture here. Okay? The plates ruptured between the Pacific plate to the east and the obtuse plate to the west. Plate rupture. Okay? Then this weekend, we had another 7.8 earthquake. Okay? This further pushed the plates to expand. 7.8 is a very deadly quake. It was offshore. For a time, there was a tsunami warning issued, but it was later, within about 45 minutes, it was recalled. Okay? But these things keep happening. The 7.8 was an aftershock of the 8.8, 9.4. We've also had several other major aftershocks. I expect we have 7.0, 7.5 aftershocks still happening within the next couple of weeks. Expect that. Expect that. Today we had a 5.0 earthquake here. 5.0 is a large quake. Okay? Just to the northwest. This is a 4.6 earthquake. 4.6 earthquake, 35 miles east of Petropavlovsk, Russia, to the south. These earthquakes are happening offshore on the edge of the plate. You can see the edge of the plate on this slide here that I'm showing. You see the edge of the plate here, okay? Here we have a 4.6 earthquake here. That is a moderate quake. USGS is calling them light quakes. 4.0, 4.9 have been called moderate earthquakes for quite some time. That's because they do moderate damage. USGS last year started calling them light quakes because they don't want the idea that these earthquakes are going to cause damage. So they changed the name to light quakes. There's nothing light about a 4.0 to 4.9 earthquake, and this was a 4.6. Again, it's offshore. Nobody felt this quake. Nobody. Okay? Out next to it, right here. This is also a 4.6 earthquake, 28 kilometers deep. Over onshore here, just to the northwest here. This is another 4.6 here. This is 49 miles deep. This was felt here. Okay? This is 52 miles south of what they call Viliunchik. Okay? Now, the Kamchatka Peninsula is not a huge urban population. In fact, it's very lightly populated. Hardly anybody lives here on the Kamchatka Peninsula. There are volcanoes here, though. There are volcanoes here. This is a 4.6 earthquake here. I doubt even anybody felt this. Okay? Again, we're still having aftershocks from the 8.8, 9.4 earthquake happened here over a month ago. They're going to continue. Let's drop down to Eastern Japan here. Off the coast of Tokyo here. Okay? This is a 4.6 moderate quake here. Okay? This is 101 miles off the coast. Nobody felt this earthquake either. Again, the ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of the quake. There are other quakes here that USGS still doesn't want to talk about. Whatever. South of Japan here. These islands south of Japan, between Japan and Taiwan here, belong to Japan. The islands here belong to Japan. This earthquake is another 4.6 moderate quake here. 44 miles northwest of Uken, U-K-E-N, Japan. It's a small island here, south of Japan here. Okay? But again, look what they're not showing us. They're not showing us any earthquakes here in this area. Why? Why? There are earthquakes. I've shown you plenty of earthquakes. I believe there are 36 earthquakes here in Indonesia alone, and 4 other earthquakes in the Philippines. Okay? Offshore southwest of Sumatra, Indonesia. Right here. This is a large 5.1 earthquake. Okay? This happened at just after 9 p.m. last night, Eastern Time. Large 5.1 earthquake here. Then we drop down here southeast of Java, Indonesia. Okay? This is a 4.9, 5.0 quake. Okay? 4.9, 5.0, 35 kilometers deep. Still a very shallow quake. Over here in the Banda Sea, This is a 4.8 earthquake near Timor, Indonesia. 4.8 still is a moderate quake. It can do moderate damage. However, this earthquake was 173 miles northeast of Timor in Timor-Leste, Indonesia, meaning the waters of the Banda Sea absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. No big deal, right? Let's go over here to Myanmar. You see Burma here. They now call it Myanmar. They now call this Myanmar. They're showing us one earthquake. There are 7 earthquakes here. Earlier this year, we had a major earthquake here, a 7.4 major quake. Did a lot of damage. It unalived a lot of people and injured others. We are still shaking here. This is another 4.2 moderate quake. 4.2 moderate quake. This happens to be 77.4 miles deep. Still a shallow quake. Still a shallow quake. Let's go over here, okay? I love it when they actually show earthquakes here. Why? Because again, this is Jalalabad, Afghanistan. 2 weeks ago, we had a 6.1 earthquake here. A very shallow 6.1 earthquake. The homes and buildings here in Jalalabad and all over this area are made of mud. They basically collapsed. Now they're saying there's close to 5,000 people that have been unalived and over 3,500 injured from this quake. Today we had another 5.0 earthquake here. 5.0 earthquake here. Again, this is 6.2 miles deep, very shallow quake. Large shallow quake here. Again, we need to remember that the buildings here are very shallow, very frail buildings. This size of a quake can topple almost any of these buildings, and that's already doing it. The other earthquake was a 6.1 earthquake 2 weeks ago. This is just adding damage. The town of Jalalabad and the other surrounding towns and provinces out there are also feeling the wrath of this earthquake. Okay? The homes and the buildings are already weakened. Large earthquake comes in here, it further weakens this area. This is not the only earthquake hit here today. Several other earthquakes have also hit here. But again, they're not going to talk about it, are they? Let's go over here to the central mid-Atlantic. Okay? This earthquake is in the central mid-Atlantic, guys. USGS says, yes, it's in the central mid-Atlantic, but it's 91 miles south of Las Flores, Portugal. That's an island out here. That's an island out here, okay? This was a 5.2 very large earthquake, okay? Nobody felt this earthquake. There's no islands with inhabitants around this area on the Mid-Atlantic Fault. We expect this to continue. We fully expect this activity to continue. I'm going to tell you why in just a second. Let's go down south here into the South Atlantic here. This is over on the Antarctic Ridge. Antarctic Ridge over here between South America and Africa. Okay? This is also 5.1 earthquake. A 5.1 earthquake south of the Sandwich Islands here. Okay? This earthquake is going to follow the Antarctic Ridge over here to the Mid-Atlantic. Then I fully expect to see either moderate to large earthquakes go up through the South Mid-Atlantic Ocean. I fully expect that to happen within a matter of days. This other 5.2 earthquake here is already moving north. Now let's bring up my webcam here so I can explain what's going on here in the mid-Atlantic. Okay? The mid-Atlantic plate is expanding like this. The mid-Atlantic plate is expanding like this. The mid-Atlantic plate in its expansion is pushing Africa and Europe in an easterly direction. At the same time, that these earthquakes on the mid-Atlantic plate are continuing to happen, and the Atlantic plate further expands here. It's pushing Greenland, Canada, the United States, and northern Mexico in a southwesterly direction, which is causing earthquakes on the East Coast. It's causing earthquakes on the East Coast, meaning Canada and the United States. I have not shown you earthquakes here on the East Coast yet. I'm going to get to that probably tomorrow. But they are hitting here. USGS rarely even talks about it. There are earthquakes over here in south central. I can't say this is central, but this is southern Chile, off the coast of southern Chile. This is another large 5.2 earthquake here. It's off the coast of southern Chile here, Chile. Okay, off the coast of Corral, Chile. Okay, let's go north here. Now, what I'm showing you is not all the earthquakes that are hitting. There's a lot more than this. In fact, down here in central Chile, we have 8 earthquakes. 8 earthquakes here. Up here in northern Chile, they're only showing us 4. 4. There are 14 earthquakes here in southern Chile, or central Chile here. Northern Chile, I'm sorry. 14 earthquakes in northern Chile. They're showing us 4. This earthquake here is a 4.3 moderate quake. It's basically in the top of the Andes Mountains here. Top of the Andes Mountains. Let's zoom in here. Look around here. We have volcanoes all over the top of the Andes Mountains. We have volcanoes all over here. This earthquake may very well be caused by volcanism down below the Andes Mountains. Down below and inside the Andes Mountains. You can see the volcanoes here, volcano peaks. Okay, let's keep going here. Further north here. Again, this is over near Atacama, Chile. 75 miles northeast of San Pedro de Atacama, Chile. Okay, it's in the mountains of Chile. Let's zoom in here. Let's show you this. Look here, guys. We have more volcanoes, don't we? This is very well caused by volcanism, magma down inside the Andes Mountains here. Okay. Then we go down here to the southwest here. This is another 4.5 earthquake. This is in the foothills of the Andes Mountains, 30 miles south-southwest of Calama, Chile. We've had large earthquakes in Calama, Chile before. This happens to be 30 miles south-southwest of Calama. You see Calama, Chile right there. Also here, okay? This is the earthquake I just showed you. Let's go north over here. Again, this is northern Chile. This is another 4.5 earthquake here. Again, this is in the very foothills of the Andes Mountains here. 4.5 earthquake here, 65 miles deep. Still a very shallow earthquake. But they're not showing all the earthquakes here. Like I said, there are 14 earthquakes here in northern Chile today. Let's go up here to Peru. Off the coast of San Juan, Peru. They've been having earthquakes here quite frequently during the last week. This is just another 5.5 earthquake here. This is off the coast. This is 27 miles south-southwest of San Juan, Peru. Because this was a 5.5, and I believe it was close enough to the shoreline, the people here on the shoreline, anywhere near the shoreline, felt parts of this earthquake. They may not have felt a 5.5, but they did feel probably a 4.8, 4.9 earthquake. That's because the seismic energy was somewhat dissipated by the waters of the Pacific Ocean here. But people here near the shoreline felt these earthquakes. They feel these earthquakes because they're closer to shore. Okay, let's go north. They're not showing anything else, but there are earthquakes over here in Colombia as well. Sad that they don't show much of anything here. Up here in Central America, this is a 4.5 moderate quake over here off the coast of Nicaragua. 4.5 earthquake. This is southwest of Jiquillo, Nicaragua. I don't know why the highlighting doesn't always stay here, but this is a 4.5 earthquake. This is also a shallow quake. 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep. There are 12 quakes over here in Central America, from northern Panama, up here in Costa Rica, over here near Nicaragua, San Salvador, and over here into Guatemala. And over here into southern Mexico. There are 38 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. USGS not showing one of them. Not one of them. Now, I had someone ask me, I believe it was a week ago, if I would get on my device and show you earthquakes that are happening. In this case, this is why I'm doing it. I want to show you what is going on that USGS is not talking about. Okay? Yes, I talk smack about USGS all the time. This is an agency I used to respect. That's because they used to tell the truth. Now they are not telling the truth at all. They're hiding earthquakes. They're hiding earthquakes. Let me show you this. Look at this, guys. I said there are 42 earthquakes here. That's what, there's more. I want you to see this. 50 earthquakes here. It's up the ante. It's up the ante. Now there are probably close to 80 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. 80 earthquakes. Now some of these are 3.1s. This one, for example, is a 1.4 tremor. That's a 1.4. This is a 3.1. However, we also have 4.5s. This is a 4.0 earthquake here. 4.0 moderate quake. We also, like I said, have 4.5s. Okay? 3.0s, 3.8s, 3.7s. Off the coast, there's a 3.6. Okay? Just south of there, another 4.0. South of there, another 3.8. They're still happening. This is another 3.4 just south of Oaxaca, Mexico. Like I said, there are 4.5s as well out here. 3.1, 3.4. This is another 4.0, so just off the coast again. There are plenty of earthquakes here. These earthquakes go up towards Puerto Rico, or not Puerto Rico. These earthquakes extend from southern Mexico down here all the way north to Puerto Vallarta here. Puerto Vallarta here. Okay? But again, USGS is not showing everything that's going on. Rarely do they ever show anything here in southern Mexico. South of Puerto Vallarta, Casmirio Castillo down here, a 4.0 earthquake here. Off the coast, we have a 3.5. Okay. Also south of Puerto Vallarta, a 3.4. South there, I'm just going to tell you, another 3.4, a 3.1, another 2.8. But there are 80 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. 80 plus earthquakes here in southern Mexico. Okay. Then we go north into the Gulf of California. Okay. We have 2 earthquakes on the San Andreas Fault in the Gulf of California. This is a 3.8 here on the San Andreas Fault. The northernmost one here in the central part of the Gulf of California, this is a 2.8. Now, let's go south here. The southern part of the Baja. Okay? Los Cabos. Los Cabos. We have a small swarm of earthquakes here. This happens to be a 1.7 tremor. Cabos. Okay? Going north. We have earthquakes there, right? Oh, yeah. Most definitely. Going north. 1.8. Jose del Cabo. 1.9. 1.4. 1.5. 1.9. 1.9. And a 2.1. These are tremors and 1 minor earthquake. Tremors and 1 minor earthquake here. Okay? That's just around Cabo here. Okay? 9 earthquakes. 9 earthquakes there, and 2 more in the Gulf of California here. Two more in the Gulf of California. Yes, we do have another earthquake in the northern Gulf near San Felipe. This is a 3.5 small earthquake there. Also right smack dab on the San Andreas Fault. Okay? Look what's happening over here in northeast San Diego County. Northeast San Diego County. This is the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park in northeast San Diego County. Most of these are just tremors. Most of these are just tremors, but guess what? We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 other quakes. 14 other quakes here. Okay? All these swarms of earthquakes that are happening, all the swarms of earthquakes that are happening here are warning. They are warning here. Why? When we get swarms of earthquakes like this, we have a large earthquake to follow. We usually have a large earthquake to follow. That's what's going to happen. Okay? Again, they're not showing all the quakes either. They're being very, very secretive what's going on here. Let's go up to the north here. right here. This is 0.8 microquake. This is 0.7. This is Idlewild, north of the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. San Bernardino Mountains here. This also 0.4 near Idlewild. I showed you a sidegram of Idlewild last week. We're going to talk about earthquakes here in Southern California tomorrow. Okay? Here is 0.6, also in the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park, the Anza Gap here. They call it the Anza Gap. This is a 0.1 microquake. Down here to the southwest, this is also 0.8. This is 0.6 Palomar Observatory. Palomar Observatory, northeast San Diego County. Palomar Observatory is on a separate and distinct fault zone, the Elsinore Fault. The Elsinore Fault. Guess what? This is Lake Elsinore here. The fault zone runs up here to the north right here. You can see this fault going down here just to the east side of Lake Elsinore. The earthquake fault follows Interstate 15 here to a great extent. You see the fault going over here to Marietta, going down towards Temecula. And you can see the fault zone coming over here to Palomar Mountain. North of Palomar Mountain here, I shouldn't say north, this is actually Palomar Observatory. 0.8 microquake. This is east-southeast of Palomar here, 0.6. Further following the Elsinore Fault here, Lake Henshaw, northeast of Escondido, another 0.6 microquake. Up here to the north, this is 0.2 in the Anza Gap again. Up here further to the northeast here, a 0.8 Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. This is a 0.8 Borrego Springs. Earthquakes all over this area, guys. Then we come further south here. Okay, this is actually over on the eastern side of the Chocolate Mountains here. This is a 1.0 tremor here. Over in the Imperial Valley, just west of the Salton Sea here. We have two earthquakes, don't we? We have two earthquakes here. This one is a 1.5 near Ocotillo Wells. 1.5 earthquake here. This is on the San Jacinto Fault. This is 0.7 microquake here, the San Jacinto Fault. Then you see an earthquake right here in the Imperial Valley, Westmoreland, California. Westmoreland, California. This is a 1.7 tremor here. Further south down here, this is a 1.6. Right next to it, literally right along Interstate 8 here, this is 1.4. Interstate 8 starts over at the coast in San Diego and goes all the way out here, all the way over into Arizona. Interstate 8. It cuts through the Imperial Valley here at El Centro. El Centro here. Cuts across the Imperial Valley here, all the way across over here into Arizona. Bingo. Goes into Yuma, Arizona here. Okay, that's what's going on here. Any questions about Southern California? I've basically taken you around the world. I've basically taken you around the world, but there's one other earthquake off the coast of Southern California, right down here. Okay? This is off the coast of La Jolla. La Jolla is a very ritzy community in San Diego County. A lot of rich people live here. This is 13 miles off the coast. Guess what? A 1.6 tremor here. Interesting. Over here, just south of Oceanside. You see Encinitas here? There's another fault coming out of Los Angeles here. The Newport Inglewood fault comes out into the Los Angeles Ocean, the Pacific Ocean off the coast of LA. There's another fault that comes off the Newport Inglewood fault. It comes over here into San Diego, it enters San Diego County here near Encinitas. We talked about this fault several weeks ago. This fault is capable of a 6.5 to 7.0 earthquake. It's separate from the earthquake out here on the coast. Off the coast, I should say. This same, it's called the Rose Canyon Fault. Comes down here through Encinitas along the coastline. It goes down here through La Jolla, down here into San Diego County. I'm seeing San Diego City. It's already San Diego County up at Oceanside. Okay? But down here in San Diego City here. Okay? Then it comes out here into San Diego Harbor. That cuts Coronado Island here in half and goes back out here in the Pacific, the Rose Canyon Fault. It's a big bad fault. It's a big bad fault. We're going to talk more about earthquakes here in Southern California and up into the Pacific Northwest on Thursday. But this is what's going on. All these earthquakes in northeast San Diego County are going to take a toll. They're going to take a toll. Like I said, every time we see swarms of earthquakes like this, usually means there's a much larger earthquake going to happen. And yet you see another earthquake here, a red earthquake that just happened. Literally, just barely happened. This again is on the San Andreas Fault. This is the 1.6 tremor here near Beaumont, California. The San Andreas Fault is alive and well. The San Andreas Fault is alive and well. Now, let's go over here into San Francisco Bay Area. Let's go up here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Yesterday, while we were on the air, we had an earthquake over here near Hayward, and it was over here near Berkeley. Okay? It was a 4.8 earthquake. They downgraded to 4.3. I showed you the information on last night's program. This is the 1.3 earthquake here on the Hayward Fault. It's still shaking. You're not going to feel 1.3 because it's a tremor. Further north here, Earth is still shaking here. Berkeley, California again. This is a 1.2 tremor here. Look at these earthquakes still hitting. That's a 1.3. This is a 1.0. This is a 2.3 minor earthquake. Nobody felt that either. People don't feel anything until it gets to be a 3.0 or larger. This is a 2.3 earthquake here. This is a 0.8 microquake here. This is a 3.0 earthquake here. People felt this earthquake. People felt that earthquake. Small earthquake. This is a 2.0 minor quake. This is a 1.7 in Berkeley, going north. This is a 1.8. The area is still shaking. Why are we getting these earthquakes today? These are aftershocks. These are aftershocks of the moderate earthquake here yesterday. Now, one of my colleagues that has an earthquake channel here on YouTube, he talks about earthquakes and volcanoes here on YouTube. He tried again to pass these off as light earthquakes. On his channel this morning, he passed these 4.0s, 4.9 off as light earthquakes. I'm going to correct that information. They are moderate quakes no matter what the USGS says. Why do I say that? There's a simple reason. Moderate quakes cause moderate damage, not light damage. No matter what the agency says, no matter what people say, they cannot call light damage pictures falling off walls, bookshelves, rattling and thrown off books, knickknacks off shelves, and plates and cupboards rattling, and some may fall off the shelves as well. If the dishes and plates and glasses are not secured by a baby latch on the cupboard doors, the 4.0 to 4.9 earthquakes can cause these glasses, these plates, and dishes to fall off the shelves. That's moderate damage. That's not light damage. That's not light damage. Now, when we had that earthquake here in North Carolina, in Sparta, North Carolina 5 years ago, that was a 5.1. I showed you the Elks Lodge in Sparta, North Carolina. Dishes and plates all over the floor broken. They were thrown out of the cupboards after a 5.1 earthquake. Imagine what a 4.8, 4.9 that hit here yesterday. And even I showed you a seismograph reading showing a 6.6. That's a powerful quake, no matter how you shake it. A 6.6 earthquake is a powerful earthquake that may have been at the epicenter. But regardless, these sized earthquakes can cause a lot of damage, a ton of damage, literally. Now I've zoomed in as far as I can here. This is UC Berkeley campus here. This is UC Berkeley campus here. Okay? It's huge. It's huge. Now, 2 years ago, we had an earthquake at UC Berkeley at the football stadium. The football stadium. It caused some seats to fall out of the football stadium. Unreal. That's what happens. But again, this earthquake was on Hayward Fault in Berkeley, California yesterday. I show you the damage results coming from the seismographs. I showed you the seismograph readings yesterday showing magnitudes. Any questions about that? Let's go over here to the southwest. We have an earthquake here, right here. This is off the coast of Pacifica, California. This was a 1.0 tremor here. A 1.0 tremor. Guess what, guys? The San Andreas Fault speaks again. The San Andreas Fault speaks again. Out here in the Pacific Ocean, they say this earthquake was actually 2 miles west-northwest of the San Francisco Zoo. We've had many earthquakes here, a lot of them, on the San Andreas Fault. After this earthquake is hitting here, The San Andreas Fault goes inland. It stays inland. Stays inland and cuts through most of California all the way down to and through Mexico, all the way down into southern Mexico. The San Andreas Fault. But it also goes north. The San Andreas Fault is up here. Originates up here in Northern California. Right up here. The San Andreas Fault results up here up in Northern California. Okay? You see this area where it joins at the triple junction here? The triple junction is called that because it joins with the Cascadia subduction zone. That same subduction zone that runs along Oregon, California, Northern California, Oregon and Washington, and British Columbia, Canada. That's where we're going to get the Cascadia megathrust earthquake off the coast of San Tacoma area. The Cascadia subduction zone. It also has a junction with what they call the Gorda Escarpment. The Gorda Escarpment runs off the coast of Northern California way out into the Pacific Ocean here. Way out in the Pacific Ocean here. Okay? Out here it joins up with the Gorda Ridge going north here. That comes up here to the north. Guess what? It hooks up with what they call the Blanco fracture zone. The Blanco fracture zone comes down here to the southeast and moves up to the northwest. Joins up with the Juan de Fuca Fault. The Juan de Fuca Fault. The Juan de Fuca Fault runs off the Oregon coast and Washington coast and goes all the way up here to the north to Haida Gwaii as well. Haida Gwaii. Haida Gwaii here is where the Cascadia subduction zone starts down here and then runs all the way down to the triple junction. And this area right here is where we expect the Cascadia subduction earthquake to happen. Right in this area right here. Right in this area right here. The Cascadia subduction zone earthquake. Yes, we have a handful of earthquakes here. Up here in the northern part of the Puget Sound area, we have a 1.8 tremor up here. 1.8 tremor here, this near Birch Bay, Washington. South here, at the entrance of the Strait of Juan de Fuca, all the way down here to Washington, to Puget Sound here. Port Townsend, Washington, a 1.3 tremor. Also in the Puget Sound area, this is a 1.0 tremor here. Port Ludlow, Washington. South here on land, just west of the Puget Sound, 0.8 microquake. North of Gorse, Washington. North of Gorse, Washington. We cross over the Puget Sound here and go over here to Monroe, Washington. 1.7 explosion. Really? Let's take a look at this. I just love explosions here. It's not really an explosion at all. It's not an explosion at all. There's a pond here, guys. How do you have explosions in a pond? This is a tremor. A 1.2 tremor here near Monroe, Washington. It's not an explosion at all. Okay? I wish USGS would do their work and actually show what's going on. They say something's an explosion, it's not. Yes, we're having these tremors here because we're going to have major earthquakes here in Washington. You can expect it. With the Cascadia subduction zone building and earthquakes happening all over here that they don't even tell us about, yes, we're going to have earthquakes here. Right here. Snoqualmie, Washington. 1.6 tremor here. Over here at Mount Rainier, nothing. Not a thing. Everything's fine. Everything's fine here at Mount Rainier. West of Mount Rainier here. This is a 0.5 microquake here. West of Mount Rainier. Interesting, but no cigar. Okay? They're not showing anything here at Mount Rainier because they're too lame. Every time I show you seismographs here, the volcanoes, you can darn well bet there's not just microquakes here. Yet they're not showing anything in Mount Rainier. There's more than just microquakes. There are microquakes, there are tremors, there are full-blown minor earthquakes, and 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes hitting the volcanoes. Why? Because Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are getting ready to erupt. That's why. That's why. Mount St. Helens today. Again, here at Mount St. Helens, they're showing a microquake. They're calling this a minus 0.1, meaning above sea level. Guess what? This is 1.4 miles deep, not above sea level at all, down inside Mount St. Helens volcano. Right next to it, also at the summit. They're calling this a minus 0.2. Guess what? This is 4.5 miles deep, 9 kilometers deep. This also is not above sea level. I hate it when the agency does this, lying to the public about what's going on. We drop down to Mount Hood. Mount Hood, they're calling this a minus 0.7 microquake here. Minus numbers again above sea level. Interesting. This is 1/10 of a mile deep. 1/10 of a mile deep. Now this volcano is high. So this just might be above sea level. Microquake. But again, they're not showing all the earthquakes hitting here. It's not just microquakes. It's just not tremors. It's just not minor earthquakes. There's also some 3.0 earthquakes hitting Mount Hood today. So they're not showing activity here. They're showing as little as they possibly can. That's all. As you can see, there are other earthquakes here on the San Andreas Fault here. Let me zoom in here. Okay, coming out of San Francisco area. Nothing over here at Monterey Bay. Nothing. We go south of the Pinnacles down here. Parkfield, California. Why is Parkfield, California having earthquakes? Why is Parkfield familiar? Parkfield, California is right smack dab on the San Andreas Fault. Parkfield, California is also earthquake capital of California and earthquake capital of the world. More earthquakes hit Parkfield than anywhere else. This is a 1.7 tremor. This is a 1.6 tremor, again at Parkfield, California. There's an earthquake further south and west here. Templeton, California, on the Oceana Fault. This is the 1.3 tremor here. Further south here on San Andreas, this is 1.1. Similar California. 9 miles east of similar California on the San Andreas Fault. As you can see, we are having earthquakes on the San Andreas Fault. It's going to continue happening. Congregations of earthquakes. I should call them congregations because this is just a conglomerate. Swarms of earthquakes. Swarms of earthquakes here. Another earthquake just happened. Johannesburg, California. Johannesburg, California right there. This is a 0.8 microquake. We have a lot of earthquakes here at Johannesburg. This is a 1.1 tremor as well. We'll go out here to Ridgecrest. Why is Ridgecrest familiar? What happened here in 2019 in Ridgecrest, California? Another 7.1 earthquake, huh? On July 3rd, 2 6.9 earthquakes happened. USGS took one off and kept the other. Both were 6.9 earthquakes, separate and distinct earthquakes with separate distinct locations and separate and distinct depths. On July 4th, a 7.1 earthquake hit Ridgecrest, California, causing some damage. Because it was out in the desert here of Southern California, it caused very little damage. If it had hit over in Los Angeles, would have caused major damage and fatalities. Because it hit out here in the Southern California desert Ridgecrest, very little thing have happened. Yes, it caused some fissure to open up in highways. It caused the gas main to break in Ridgecrest. It caused a small fire that didn't last very long. It didn't hardly do any damage. We have some earthquakes here. This is a 0.8 microquake here. This is a 1.2 tremor here. This is a 1.1 earthquake here, minor tremor here. 1.1 tremor here. This is a 0.7 microquake. This is a 1.1 tremor here. Further north, you see some earthquakes here. Yes, there's some earthquakes. Right here. Little Lake, California. This is a 0.6 microquake. Just almost right next to it here is a 0.4 also in Little Lake, California. Yes, we have some other earthquakes here. What's going on? Kozo Junction. Kozo Junction. What is Kozo Junction? This is a volcanic field. A volcanic field here. This is a 0.8 microquake here at Kozo Junction. As I said before, huge volcanic field. Right next to it is a 1.0 tremor here. Look at the craters and cones all over Kozo Junction, Kozo Volcanic Field. All throughout Kozo Volcanic Field, we have geothermal facilities here. We have geothermal facilities. What good are they? Why do we have geothermal facilities here in the volcanic field? Simple answer is this. Men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Kozo volcano to gain steam to power turbines here in this volcanic field. There are about 42 different turbines here in the Koza volcanic field. Generating electricity through powering turbines, generating electricity for a huge energy conglomerate, Southern California Edison. That's what's going on here in Koza volcanic field. That's what's happening. Up here to the north, also part of the Koza volcanic field. 1.5 tremor here. 1.5 tremor. Along the Sierra Mountains here. Olancha, 62 miles north of Ridgecrest, Olancha, California. When the Ridgecrest earthquake hit here, we had large earthquakes hitting here in Olancha. 5.0, 4.9 earthquakes hitting here in Olancha, California. 62 miles north of Ridgecrest. Today, this is a 1.1 tremor here. Also here in the Sierra Mountains here is another 1.1 tremor. 10 miles southwest of Olancha, California. Earthquakes are still hitting here. I fully expect earthquakes to continue hitting here because I believe there is a ramping up of earthquake energy here in the Koza volcanic field and all over Southern California. As I said before, I believe we're about to see a 7.0, 7.5 earthquake hit over here east of Los Angeles on the San Andreas Fault. I believe we're starting to see a ramp up of earthquakes here. We'll see what we see, won't we? We'll see what we see. Any questions about earthquakes? Any questions about earthquakes? Our dear friend Renee Steppe is here in the chat. Renee has put up a tornado watch issued for northeastern Oklahoma until 10 p.m. tonight. Another 4 hours. Actually, 10 p.m. Central Time, which is another 5 hours. If you are in the northeastern part of Oklahoma, you need to start taking coverage now. Make sure your home is safe for you. Make sure you can identify a safe place within your home if that tornado comes near you. Right now it's a tornado watch. We're watching for tornadoes. If it gets to be a tornado warning, that means a tornado has either been sighted on local radar or on the ground. When a tornado warning is given, you need to be very serious about searching for a safe place to be and stay there. If you're in your home and you don't have a tornado shelter, go to your interior of your home and stay there. Go to the interior of your home and stay there. If you have a tornado shelter, get there and get there right away. Okay? Any questions about anything here? Renee Steppe says a tornado watch remains in effect until 10 p.m. tonight in north central Arkansas as well. If you guys are there, make sure you're already looking for a safe place to go inside your home. Any questions? We appreciate all of you that are here today. Now I have a short presentation for you. I've been working on this presentation most of the day. I want to talk about family and why family is important. In the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, crazy person or persons, and I believe it was a conspiracy because of the evidence I've already seen and the evidence that I'm also gathering. I believe there was a conspiracy to kill Charlie Kirk. Someone took his life. I believe it was planned. I believe it was planned. Family's important. To me, family's very important. Way back when? Way back when? Now, I take you back a lot of years. A lot of years. This goes back to the late 70s, 1977. You see me, the ugly guy on the left-hand side? That was me. I just returned to my home in California with my parents from my missionary work in Sweden. My brother Mark, standing next to me, was about to leave for his missionary work in Italy. My brother Scott is a tall one in the center there. My sister Julie to the right, to the left of him, to your right, and our sister Pam to the other side of her. The young man in front of my father there is my brother Mike, 1977. Let's fast forward. Let's fast forward here. Approximately 1988. 1988. I'm sorry this picture was way too big for what I'm showing you here. I'm going to reduce the size of this picture here, so bear with me for just a minute. About 1988, some of my siblings had gotten married. Some of them, including me, had children. You see 4 of my children here in this picture. My son is on my lap. My son Eric is now married and has 2 children. My brother Scott is the guy in the red shirt here. His wife is holding one of their youngest children here. My sister Pam is holding one of my daughters, Melissa. My father is holding my son Scott's son Darren. Darren also is married and has several children. Okay? You see Pam sitting next to her husband. They also have about 4 children. Unreal. We've gotten older. My brother Mark is not married here. He's off to the far left here. My brother Mark. Let's continue this discussion. I have 9 children that I'm very proud of. This is my son Eric and his daughter. My son Eric and his daughter. This is my son Eric, his 2 children, a daughter and a son, and his wife Thalia. Great people. Great people. We love them very much. Since then, we gathered together as a family and Mark wasn't there. My brother Mark wasn't there. This is my 2 sisters and 2 out of 4 brothers. Actually, 3 out of 4 brothers. I'm on the top left side. I since got married again. My wife has 5 children. Carol has 5 children. Wonderful lady. This is Austin, the oldest, and his wife, Morgan. With Austin, Morgan, our son Paul over on the left-hand side, daughter Katie, and our son Thomas. Katie's also got a daughter, our granddaughter, Leilani. We love very much. Now you've seen all 9 of my children and some of our grandchildren. We have about 8 grandchildren between us. We love each and every one of them. Why do you think I'm talking about family? Why is family important? Why is family so important? Because one day, we are all going to live in heaven together. You and I, and all of our children, and our grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. We are all going to live in heaven with our Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. What does this have to do with anything? Let's talk. I've talked a lot about myself in the past years. I've talked a lot about myself and my family in the past years. Throughout the years, you've all gotten to know me and who I am. You see me here before you today. I feel that the person you see here before you is indicative to who you and I are. I'm a man made in God's image. Each and every one of us are children of God, in utero and outside of it. I'm very much a pro-lifer. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I'm a follower of truth. I'm what you call one of God's disciples. And what Charlie Kirk educated us about, being disciples of God, being disciples of Jesus Christ, following God, and also making sure we are good representatives of our country, patriots. I'm a husband, a friend. I'm a brother. I'm a son. I'm a hugger. If any of you know me and have ever seen me, you know I give a lot of hugs. That's what the Tyler family does. I have 9 kids together with my wife, 4 of my own and 5 of hers. We're a blended family. We're a blended family that loves each other. We're here for each other. We're here for each one of you. I consider all these children my own. They all call me Dad. We have at least 8 grandchildren, and possibly more that are going to be coming. I've been married to my good sweetheart for a long time, many years. But just as Charlie Kirk said, we are all sinners. I fail. I repent on a daily basis. I love greatly. I pray. I work daily to walk in righteousness with God and to be obedient to his commandments. And believe me, I fail often. Thank goodness for Jesus Christ and the ability for us to repent. Through the Christ's atonement, we have a chance to repent and return to him. Thank you, Jesus, for a gracious and merciful God. Charlie Kirk taught us a lot of inspiration. Charlie Kirk was not a racist, as some people have been saying he is. Charlie Kirk had a family that he loved, just like I love all my children, my brothers and sisters, my family. You can go over to Glenn Beck on YouTube. After the memorial service was done, Glenn Beck said it was the greatest spiritual revival of my lifetime. Go over to YouTube and check out his several-minute-long statement. Charlie Kirk's memorial service was the greatest spiritual revival of my lifetime. 4 pastors talk. 4 pastors. 4 great men prophesying of God. Talking about how great families were. And they also asked people to stand and accept Jesus Christ. Those people that stood accepted Jesus Christ on Sunday evening. Over 100,000 people in that football stadium, and several thousand across the street. 10,000 in one building, and other people on the outside of both stadiums. Tens of thousands of people there, and more than several million on the internet attended Charlie Kirk's memorial service. I believe that we've seen the greatest revival in our history, and I hope it continues. I hope it continues, because we need to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout our land, throughout the world. Charlie Kirk's memorial service was broadcast worldwide. Italy, Germany, Switzerland, France, Germany, England. People stormed the streets of London. Over 1 million people were in London this past week on Saturday. At first, they were going to hold a rally about taking back their own country, similar to what we've seen here in the United States, taking back our country. But because of Charlie Kirk's assassination, they turned it into a memorial service for Charlie Kirk all around this world, south into Australia as well. Brothers and sisters, it's time for each one of us to accept Jesus Christ in our lives. If you have not already done so, do it. Do it. Repent and accept Jesus Christ in your life, then follow him. Follow him. Bring your family with you. This past Sunday and the Sunday before that, we had people going to church that never even been in church. Other people had been in church for years. They returned to church as well, because they felt the Spirit of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ touching them, bringing them back into our fold of our family. May each one of us be blessed. May each one of us realize where we came from and why we're here and where we're going. Please, folks, if you have not already done so, like I said, accept Jesus Christ in your life and do whatever it takes to make sure you are in heaven with me. Because heaven would be the same without you. Each and every one of you are my family. May God bless you. May God be with you. Before I leave, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you also to help support this channel. Several of our mods have already put up this information on our chat during this program, which I greatly appreciated, Demon Catman especially. We have 2 PayPal channels here that you can give us donations to. Our Venmo's not working. I'm trying to recover that one. You can also send support to 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. Our zip code here is 28655. You can send us a letter. In that letter, tell us how you are preparing for the last days, for disasters and emergencies that are going to happen in your life. You can also send us a card. Inside that letter or card, you can slip cash or a check. Please do that to help support this channel. I've not seen any super chats today, but I want to thank one of our best family members. I shouldn't say best, one of our best family members here, who brought many people into our channel here today. Heidi Petrick. Heidi Petrick is a great woman, a great friend. I appreciate her immensely. We come on this channel every day just after 4 p.m. And right now it's just after 6 o'clock right now, about 6:20, 6:18. I'm going to end this now. Please come here tomorrow, same time, same station. If anything happens tonight or in the morning, we'll be back here on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, have a good night. Be safe out there. Hug your family members. Hug your family members. Why? Because tomorrow's not given. God bless you. God be with you until we meet again. Have a good night, everyone. Please know that I love you.